4. Hello and welcome to the G&G podcast. My name is Gabe.
And I'm Gato.
Welcome to another episode. I believe episode 27, right?
Yeah, I think it's 27 now.
Yeah.
Dude, 27 episodes.
Congrats to us.
Yeah. 27 has no significance to me, but but it's 27, yay.
You digging my mustache, by the way?
Dude, I'm digging the mustache. It looked so good last week.
Yeah, I kind of
Was it last week? It was last week, right?
Saturday, I think so. A couple
Yeah,
days ago.
Saturday when I saw you.
Yeah. It's going to be
Are
shaved
you gonna
again
Oh, you're going
for
to
this
shave it?
weekend. Yeah.
Are you going to do no shave November?
Nah.
So you're just going to keep shaving?
Yeah. It gets to the point where you eat your hairs when they get too long. You know? Or no? Have you ever done it that long before?
Yes and no. So I get it. So here on the sides,
Yeah.
these ones will like get really long and they'll just like get in a little bit, and I'll just be biting them a little bit.
I do that too. Oh my gosh.
I don't mean to. It's right there. So
Right. And
but then
chew
again,
on it and then trim the hairs.
same thing is happening with this now. Like to the point where like it's getting there. It's getting long enough.
Does it taste good?
No, it doesn't. I don't do it very often, but
Yeah.
it's happened a couple times. But what I found is that when I wear a mask, like at work,
Yeah.
the mask will start pulling on the hairs, and then when I take off the mask, I see all these little hairs on it. I'm like,
That's gotta hurt though.
it's all right. I don't feel it.
No?
Also, I don't know why I just randomly started losing my voice.
You gotta drink that water. Or is that
Yeah, I
G
got
Fuel?
it. Yeah, I do.
Not sponsored yet, by the way. Oh, look at that commercial. That's the way you drank that. That's like an ad right there.
G Fuel. Yeah, well. Oh my goodness, I'm sorry.
It's good.
Looks like you're gonna get a raspy
COVID?
voice. No, I hope not. I really hope not.
Oh my gosh.
But yeah, it looks like you're gonna get raspy voice Gato today. So I
Ooh.
apologize if this is not your favorite type of voice.
I think there's a demographic for that. Some women, they like the raspy voice.
Oh yeah, do you like my raspy voice, viewer / listener? Is this your favorite type
Smash
of voice?
that like button if you like raspy voices.
I do like raspy voices on women actually. Like Emma Stone, her voice
Yeah.
is like perfect. It's just
Remember-
like the perfect tone.
Remember when Brenda's song was popular?
When who?
Brenda song, that one girl from Disney Channel, Sweet Life.
Oh,
Sweet Life.
no,
Zack and
I-
Cody.
I'm not familiar with those ones.
No.
I was
Yeah.
not a Disney Channel. I was too cool for Disney Channel. I was way too much into Cartoon Network, you know. And I like, you know, I adapted a little bit into Nickelodeon, but Cartoon Network was my
Yeah.
was my jam. And so Disney Channel, even though I had a lot of popular shows, it was never like, I don't know, I just felt like I was too mature to watch Disney Channel. I thought it was for little kids. And you know, I was 10 at the time, so
Wow.
definitely
So
not a little
mature
kid.
For a 10-year-old.
I mean, how old was I when I watched Mars Attacks? I was 8 years old.
That's
Super
right.
mature, you know.
Too mature, right?
You know what's funny? Here, a little bit of a throwback to last episode. So we were talking about. Oh my goodness!
Oh,
what
yeah,
the crap is going on in my
is
voice?
really-
It's really going. I promise you, I don't feel sick or anything like that. It's just for some reason my voice is just kind of leaving me right now. So we were talking about movies and shows and stuff that scared us as kids, and one of the movies that scared me as a kid was Mars Attacks. So we see that scene where like people are getting shot, and I watched that in the theaters and I like cried and I asked my dad to take me home. And we did. He did take me out. But what's funny about this is that so that movie scared the crap out of me. But I had already seen movies like The Predator and Alien and Terminator. Like I'd seen movies like that and they didn't scare me. They were fine. But I watched Mars Attacks and I started crying like something went wrong.
Skeletons. That's weird.
Yeah,
For
a
some
little
reason,
bit.
Mars Attacks affected you.
Yeah, I don't know what it was. The skeletons.
I mean,
We
did
watched-
people get blown up in Predator?
Um, yeah, although you don't
Limbs
always
cut
see
off.
it.
Oh,
Yeah, you do see limbs cut off, but they're not skeletonized. It's just like
Yeah.
bloody, and I guess I'm okay with bloody. I don't know. Uh, but yeah, we Amber and I watched that movie last night because we wanted to watch a movie, and there's nothing that we wanted to watch, and I'm like, well, Mars Attacks is on Netflix.
Oh, yeah, I saw that on
we
there.
should watch it. And she's like, okay. And we did. And then she looked at me after the movie and she was like, why do you know all these weird movies from the 90s? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do.
everyone knows what Mars Attacks was, right?
Yeah.
It's funny because Britt didn't see it. We watched it. She watched it for the first time a couple of months ago.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What'd you think?
She fell asleep. I think
It wasn't that boring.
No, it was good. She was just really tired that day. But I think
Yeah.
she fell asleep around the giant alien part or the robot.
Oh, with
I
the
don't remember.
robot?
Yeah.
Yeah, when it like destroys the things, the trailers.
Well, today we have an interesting topic for you folks, listeners, viewers today. There's a new movement apparently going on called anti-work or anti-work, depending how you pronounce it. And I think it started at this subreddit, our anti-work. There's especially much people quitting their jobs over text or I don't know, how do you describe it? People just
Yeah.
getting sick of work.
Yeah. I think there was this whole thing going on over the past 2 years. I think one of the things that started this movement was just knowing that you can do your job from home, and
Yep.
like you know what, I did see a post related to this of how like people would request in their offices like, hey, like I like I'm sick but I can work from home or something, and they're like, no, we can't do that, it's not how things work, blah blah. And then a pandemic hits, and then this now it becomes a necessity, so then companies will be like, okay, well, we do have to do this in order for it to work. And it turns out that it works better for everybody. There's less traffic. As a worker, you're not spending an hour to 2 hours getting ready to go to work and driving, like commuting to work. So the fact that you can sleep a little longer, and then you can still get ready, and then you just go to wherever you
wear shorts,
work.
no shirt.
Yeah, you can be comfortable.
Yeah.
You don't spend money on lunches as much as you would if you went out somewhere. I think that like this realization over the past 2 years, year and a half, has really like gotten people thinking like, hey, like we could have been doing this forever, but we were all forced into going into an office or whatever. And you know what? It's not just with office workers where they're able to do it from home, but I think a lot of the service workers are the ones that are also getting kind of tired of their jobs.
Retail, maybe.
And yeah, retail and food. And I think a lot of it has to do also with the pandemic, because I mean, I feel like a lot of people are just feeling too demanding, and people are already like tired because service workers, food workers, retails, like they never got to work from home like everybody else did. They had to go to work. They were called essential workers. Like I got a little piece of paper that said, "Oh man, I wish I had this paper with me. I don't know why I didn't think about it, but everybody at my job got this piece of paper that was stating like, "Hey, I'm a employee at this place. Uh, this is a certification that if you see me driving, then I'm just going to work, because driving was like nobody was supposed to go out. So we got this paper saying like I'm an essential worker. So if I'm driving, it's because I'm going to work.
Yeah.
So we get a year and a half of a lot of big changes happening in life, and now that we're trying to go back into a previous normal, or just back to normal, I should. I feel like a lot of people are just not happy with the work environment, and thus the subreddit anti-work or anti-work was born, where people started sharing the reasons why they quit, or why they feel the way they do.
Yeah, I've read some of the reasons people quit, and they're legit reasons.
Yeah.
And I get it. I get like, we're to a point where, are we just working to live to work, that whole saying or whatever. And some people are realizing there's a better life. And I think it could be partly could be because of there's so many other alternative ways to make money now.
Mm-hmm.
With like Etsy or YouTube.
Yeah.
And then people might get this is where I kind of change my mind on that. Some people will believe that they can just do this, go all into Etsy or YouTube or Twitch, and then they find out it's harder than they think, and then they realize they quit their job for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
I 100% agree with you there. I'm all for following your dreams. You go 12 years to high school, preparing you for life, even though not everybody comes out of high school prepared for life.
Yeah.
And if you did, that's great. I'm not saying that school isn't doing what it's supposed to, but I feel like a lot of people, they just come out of high school and they're like, well, now what? And then you get all this, you get thrown into the real world, and it's more chaotic than you expected.
Yeah.
And then you spend years going to college trying to figure out what you're supposed to do, what you're good at, but you don't even know what you're good at unless you're like in a sports team or something like that, right? But I mean, there's all these jobs, and you go and you pick your job because it's something that you need to do or you want to do. But with that mentality of like, well, I can do whatever I want now, like like YouTube and stuff like that. Like YouTube is hard, dude. Even people say, if I just stuck with YouTube like when it was first a thing, I'd be rich now. But I'm like, you don't know that. You really don't. And just because YouTube wasn't as populated back in the day as it is today, it doesn't mean that you'd be successful at it.
Yeah. There's this guy I remember when first YouTube started was Winecone. Do you remember that guy?
Wineco?
The Winecone. He was like this Asian guy, and he did like vlog styles. It was very freestyle. It's like he was a funny, like charismatic guy. He was a funny guy, but and he was one of the top YouTubers. And then he stopped.
Really?
I think it's partly because he probably didn't, pivot his show or his channel to the trends, and so he kind of got lost.
Yeah.
But,
That's the thing, is
like PewDiePie that continues to grow.
Yeah, and people like him, people like PewDiePie, like adapt to what's going on. Like if you watch PewDiePie videos from 10 years ago, it's all gaming, and then you go like 3 years ago and it's like super cringy stuff. But then you see him today and he's just like reviewing a memes. He's like, he talks philosophy and stuff like that. So like he adapts to what's going on. He reacts to his public. And that's the thing. If you don't know how to do that, if you don't know how to be disciplined in the ways of self-work and like being your own boss, it's going to be a heck of a ride to quit a corporate job to do your own thing. With that being said, though, I do feel like a lot of these people, like I don't think they're wanting to quit just because they want to pursue their own dreams, but a lot of them are quitting because they're being mistreated, and it's come to a point where like it's not even worth it anymore to be mistreated for the money. This is where we come to a couple of text message conversations that were posted on Reddit. So we're gonna go ahead and review them. So here right now we have this picture: quitting your job over text, so hot right now, because a lot of people are doing that. Okay. So this first text, it starts, "Good evening, me," the person who they're texting. "I was reviewing the cameras from our shift today and noticed that you were sitting on a stool for the majority of your shift. This is completely unacceptable behavior, and we will be discussing it tomorrow before shift." Person responds, "I cleared it with," whoever the lead is, "I have 2 broken bones on my left foot. Doctor documented. Aside from that, I packed a 240 plus UPH for the entirety of my shift. 12 full hours. I'm not sure if you're aware, but we do have a ranked list for packing displayed directly above our stations. My efforts earned me first place today. So just to be clear, my impressive performance was overshadowed by the fact that I wasn't uncomfortable enough while doing it." Boss replies, "I'm really not appreciating your attitude. You could have just said the first part where it was cleared with another lead instead of being disrespectful. This type of behavior isn't going to get you anywhere here." To which the person responds, "Hey, thanks for wasting my precious off time with some garbage you didn't bother to investigate beforehand. Seriously, 240 plus UPH. What you claim to be a pinnacle of performance there, I achieved it, and I get grief because I was sitting while doing it. You guys need to get your priorities straight. It is no wonder that you have such difficulties retaining staff. I'm not concerned with anywhere there. It's a toxic environment with ignorant people at the helm. I won't be in tomorrow or ever again." The boss says, we don't need to rush to you leaving. Let's talk in the morning and we can sort this out. No thanks. Have a good life."
I remember reading that one too.
Oh, you read this?
Yeah.
Dude, okay. Honestly, I've lived through stuff like this. To the point where like I was busting my butt to get good like member service, customer service, like going the extra mile, doing things that I'm not expected to do, but I'm doing it anyway. But I bust my butt, and then as soon as I take like 30 seconds, it's funny how it happens, but you take 30 seconds as a break, and then the boss walks in, and then it's like, "Hey, why are you not working? Like, this is going to be on your performance log now because you're being lazy." And it's kind of like, bro, like, I'm literally doing all this work, and then you focus on the bad. And I think it's happening. It's happening a lot.
I think the problem, and I remember this goes even into like the programming developer world. Like, how do you measure progress? Is it by how many lines of code you've made? Like, if that's the case, then you can make all this 100 lines of code that make no sense, or is just over bloated, and then it counts as work. Or if you are saying it's gonna get done in 3 days and you get it in 1 day, like, should you still be working for the 2 days?
Right.
Because you completed the task. It's not measured by how many hours you spent.
Isn't there a statistic that says that out of the 40 hours of office work, you're literally only working for like 10 hours, and then the other third you're just filling in like busy work.
I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah.
It's something like I might my numbers aren't correct. I know that but I do remember hearing something about this, and you know what? Applying it to my job as an optician, working with glasses and patients and stuff like that. I'm at my workplace for 8.5 hours because we get a 30-minute break. So eight hours of work, and the time that we actually spend like with a patient talking about their vision, their glasses, their contacts, and whatever, it's not even half a day. Like the rest of the time, we're cleaning, we're reorganizing. We have to find things to do, because if we're not doing anything, if everything is caught up, and you're just sitting there, then you're doing something wrong, because you should be doing something, because the company is paying you for your time, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like we've come into this sense of like so you're paying me for my time, not for the job I'm doing.
Yeah.
And it's a fine line distinguishing like what your job is versus like what it's not. I don't know if that makes sense.
No, that makes sense, and I think it's such a tricky thing because, like you said, how do you measure tasks
The work.
over
Yeah.
being there? Like, what if the job that someone does that you do does it in half the time? Like, should they go home early? Do they get to do they get to leave early, or can they just sit around? Are they allowed to sit around at that point because they completed all their tasks, but they're paying you to be there? So are they encouraging you to work at a slower pace?
Right. That's the thing, is like, so what, do we work slower? Like,
Yeah.
we're technically being punished for efficiency.
Yeah.
If we're able to complete the task within a shorter amount of time, then you're being punished. That's one of the funny things about, like, this just came to my mind, but wow, back in what was it, 2016, 2017, like at Costco, they were looking for they needed help in the bakery for the closing shift. So the closing shift at the bakery basically spends like 2-3 hours like wrapping like cookies and just baked goods, muffins, whatever. And then for the remainder of the time, you're supposed to clean up the whole department. So you clean up the pans, the dishes, the floors, everything. Like, your job is to clean. And so the shift usually ended at 10 p.m. And a lot of the times, the last shift would leave at like 10:30 or 11. And this was something that I knew because I usually would stay late anyway, like at work in my other departments. And I knew that bakery staff usually stayed late. And so when I was asked to go and do that, they're like, well, you can get like overtime because you're not going to be done cleaning until like 11. And an hour overtime is a lot of money at Costco. And so I'm like, okay, well, that's fine. Like, yeah, I'm down. And so the first night, I finished at 10. Like, they taught me where everything is and how to clean and everything. And I finished right on time, maybe a couple of minutes over, but I felt pretty good about it and stuff like that. And then for the next 2-3 weeks, I was finishing like an hour before 10 p.m. And even the manager came to me and she's like, how are you getting this done so early? And I'm like, I don't know, I'm just cleaning. And they're like, are you doing it right? So like that's what they go to, is, are you doing it right? Are you doing it all? And I'm like, yes. Like, we have a freaking checklist where we go over everything that we're supposed to do. And I'm like, you taught me how to do it, and I'm doing it, and I'm doing it a lot quicker than whoever else was doing it before. And you look at me with suspicion instead of saying, hey, good job. And so it's kind of like,
wow.
bruh, like, so I'm not being punished, but I'm like,
Does it,
they're pointing out
to the bad. immediately.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you're
Yeah.
doing too good of a job. Like, why? Like instead of saying like, oh, I wonder why the other people were taking so long, they're just assuming that I'm doing something wrong because I'm doing it faster than everybody else. So I'm like,
Yeah.
that was one of those turning points for me where I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna try hard anymore because obviously nobody's gonna recognize it. I'm not gonna get a raise.
Nope.
I'm not gonna get a medal. I'm not getting anything. I'm still getting paid the same amount of
Yep.
money that everybody else is. At this point, if they're willing to pay everybody else before me like overtime, then I might as well just take it easy and get paid overtime because then they'll be like, hey, good job.
Yeah, and I think that's part of the problem too. There's there's it's like an expectation to just be average.
Yeah.
And I think some people don't like that, or they want to be recognized for their hard work, but at the same time be fairly treated. I don't know. Like it goes back to that text. It's like they did their job, but even though just at the moment they saw them on camera, like sitting down, it's like, oh, immediately they're a bad worker because they didn't do it.
Yeah. I don't know what 240 plus UPH stands for.
I think that's a Unicode for some emoji. I'm not sure though. I don't know. It didn't translate well though.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
That's fine. It's fine. Okay, should we go to the next
one.
text?
Yeah.
So this is just a statement on Twitter. I'm not jealous of rich people because of the things they have. I'm jealous of rich people because they get to pursue their passions in life without having to work a grueling 40 plus hours a week job, literally just to get by.
Hmm.
How do you feel about
Because
this?
rich
Do you
people,
agree or
because
do you
they
disagree?
get to pursue their passions in life. Well, here you go. Passions in life, right? Maybe that's like their hobbies or whatever, because they have extra time, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm sure maybe because they got rich because they worked hard or they built a business themselves and that could sustain itself to the point where it's like passable income and they can do whatever they want, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's my thinking, but at the same time, it's like there will be jobs that you have to just work 40 plus hours a week, and that's just to get by, you know? And if you
Yeah.
want to live like those rich people, like this person is saying, then you gotta quit or pursue your own dreams or whatever, or start your own business.
Yeah, you gotta make some changes. I think this is where my thoughts on like if you're not disciplined enough
Yeah.
to do the job on your own, then you're gonna have a hard time. I think this falls under that category. Because like yeah, I mean I get it. It sucks that
Yeah.
you have to work so many hours just to get by. I mean I've been through that. I'm sure that I don't know. Have you been through that as well? Where you're working like over 40 hours just to get by.
No, I feel like I'm in a good spot.
Nah. I'm jealous of you. No, I'm just kidding.
I think it's because I don't know. I got lucky. I will say I got lucky.
Yeah, I think I honestly I think luck has a lot to do with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean I get it. It sucks. Nobody wants to do that, you know, for the rest of your life, just working 40 hours or more than 40 hours every week just to like wake up, go to work, come home, eat, repeat kind of thing, right?
Yeah, no, I
But if
get that.
But if that's the case, I feel like that's also on you. I think this is a two-way street, right?
Yeah.
Like if you know you're going to be stuck at a job, you're going to be at a dead-end job, then you got to change your ways, man. Like
Yeah, because like what is
you
that?
can't
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over.
doing the same thing and expecting
And
different
yes,
results.
yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I
so
think this is why this whole like Great Resignation movement is what they're calling it, the Great Resignation, where people are realizing they can, you know, do their own thing and not get into like grueling work and then still enjoy life.
Yeah, I mean, you're still gonna be working.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Like,
Work,
and like, go ahead, go ahead.
work is like, work is a part of life. You have to work. In order to make money, you have to work.
Yeah,
Like, if you want to live in a society where you have to pay for stuff, you gotta work.
yeah,
Otherwise, you can live remotely, hunt your own food, cook your own food, and then you're not working, but
dude.
you
Well,
don't
no,
have time to enjoy life.
that itself is work.
Yeah, that is
Like,
work.
if you need to survive, right?
Yeah,
And you can either get a job, or yeah, you're right, you can go live in a cabin, create your own little hut cabin, hunt your own food, and yada yada yada. But that is work.
yeah,
So the question is, do you want your work to be survival, or do you want work to be a provider
yeah.
for a good lifestyle? And you're right. I was laughing because right before you said that we live in a society, I was like, we live in a society. In my head, I was like, because we do live in a society where
Yep.
this is what we do. We've agreed to do this. This is the society.
Yeah.
Um,
On the
so
counterpoint, though, I get why people, that shouldn't be the way it is. I will admit it's not perfect, and you do have to work. And then some people are just realizing there's better ways to make money. There's better ways to uh, survive, you know. But in the end, it's still gonna be work. If you're gonna go
yeah,
into YouTubing, if you're gonna go streaming, and I've like read or even seen videos of interviews of people, they think, oh, I think they just play video games, all day long. They still have to work. They're
yeah,
still working.
yeah. It is still work, and then that's a dangerous line too, if you're trying to turn one of your hobbies into work.
Yeah,
Because if you don't balance it correctly, then you're gonna get burned out,
exactly.
and then your hobby is not gonna be a hobby anymore. It's gonna be job, and then you're gonna be tired of it because it's not only work now, like just work, but you've turned something that you enjoy into something that you dread. And I feel like that is worse than just having a
Yeah,
job you don't
I
like,
agree. I
because
totally agree.
now your hobby's gone. So,
What are you gonna enjoy now if you have to do that to make money? And
right.
you're gonna resent your hobby because that's the way it's like people that resent their jobs because that's they have to make money. You replace job with streaming or Etsy or whatever. It's still
Yep.
gonna be the same problem. I think the one of the bigger issues is that we're trying to shift blame of the grueling work life to work itself. You know, like the idea of work is getting the blame opposed to, oh, maybe I should have pursued something else in college, something that was more an open opportunity in terms of like tech or medical field or something like that. So
Mm.
instead of receiving that blame, they want to blame work itself. I
Yeah.
don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, and I think you're right on that. I think um, it's there's too many fingers pointing at each other.
Yeah. It's,
So
I mean, to take it to an extreme, it's like people hate eating. It gets to a point where people hate eating. They're just going to blame eating itself rather than, oh, I should probably change my eating habits or,
yeah, like the
you
diet,
know,
like what I'm eating.
yeah, or something. I don't know.
No, it
It's,
makes sense. Like, yeah, if you're not enjoying what you're eating, you can't say like, "Well, I hate eating." No, you just don't like eating
yeah,
what you're eating. So maybe change from salty to sweets or something. Like, it makes total sense.
yeah.
Okay, let's go to the next one. It's another text conversation. Do you want to read this one?
All right. So John from work says, "Hey Brandon, we're short-staffed for the rest of the year because Sarah just quit without any warning. We're really backed up, so I'm going to need you to come in during Thanksgiving this year. Don't be shocked if you have to come in during Christmas Eve and day too. I already told you 3 weeks." And then John says, "I already told you 3 weeks," or I guess this person, not John. I already told you 3 weeks ago, I need that week off, and you agreed. Now you're changing your mind. I will not be working Thanksgiving, and if you ask again, I will not be working for you at all anymore. John responds, we've had to set expectations with you multiple times this year. Coming in is the least you can do. Your PTO request has been denied. I'm not asking you to come in, I'm telling you that you have to. And then he responds, I'm telling you that you'll have no worker at all now. I quit.
And that was that.
That's pretty sweet.
So this is where we go back into it. It's not that people don't want to work.
Yeah.
It's that the work environment in which they're in is not good. This is what I would call a toxic environment.
Yeah,
and you know what?
toxic.
I'll play devil's advocate because he does. I mean, I agree with the person that quit. If I was being treated like that, I would be like, nah, I'm done. Like, no way, man. Like, if you already agreed to give me days off and then you're telling me, like, no, you have to, I'd be like, no, that's not how this works. And I do that in my current job, too. Not that we get in arguments, but the policy is if you're approved for a day off or a time off, you are off at that time. Nobody can force you to stay. And it's good because this company actually upholds that
honors
policy.
That's good.
But to play devil's advocate with this text, he does say, we've had to set expectations with you multiple times this year. Coming in is the least thing you can do. So I'm curious to see why. Why was this said?
This could
I'm not
be
trying
like
to...
there's one of situations where you see a video and then you side with one side not knowing the full story.
Mm-hmm.
This could be like that same situation.
Yep. And I've seen I actually saw a video like that yesterday where you see this kid like punching, or he throws another kid over a lunch table.
Oh, damn.
And then this other kid comes to the aid of the other kid and starts punching him. And so looking at the video, you're like, well, this dude that commenced the fight isn't the wrong. But then they came out with a statement saying that this kid was actually being bullied in the bathroom. And I think they said that they were throwing things at him while he was like in the stall. And they called him like all sorts of names and whatnot. So when he got out of the bathroom, he went and found the guy that did it. And so he was like, what's wrong with you? Like, and then so he was, I mean, yeah, it's retaliation, I guess, but like it explains the situation a little bit more. So, this could really be one of those situations. We don't know, but from just this message right here, I agree with the person that quit, with the worker. Because if this is the type of conversation you're having, again, you're working in a toxic environment, and I'm just not for that. I don't agree with toxic environments.
I mean, at the same time, right? Like, I totally agree with you. Like, if they're telling you, if this is the way they're telling you, they obviously don't respect you as a worker, you know. And that, like you said, is a toxic environment. Probably should quit. You know, find somewhere where a company actually values you. And I mean valued, you know, very short. I use that word very lightly because a company can't really value you. But anyway, that's beside the point. But yes, their company short-staffed because Sarah just quit without warning, probably with the same situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they, as a company, what are they supposed to do? Are they supposed to just hire some rando person off the street that can do this job? Like, what are they supposed to do? Our managers maybe have to step in. Let's say the managers are already stepping in. You know, let's say the company is being stretched, right? So then what does the company do? Well, to counter that because I'm like thinking out loud now.
Yeah, we're going in layers here, man.
Right? Because they're toxic to their employees, they lost that worker, and now they are stretched thin because they mistreat their workers. So I mean, I see both sides.
I think a lot of it really has to do with your approach.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing is like this guy's saying like we're backed up. I'm gonna need you to come in during Thanksgiving. Don't be shocked if you have to come in during Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So he's just saying like, yo, like you're my worker, you do what I say, kind of thing.
Yeah. And that's
Um,
probably where the mistake is.
yeah, honestly, if you're the manager, if I'm the manager of a location that just lost a worker and I need help, I wouldn't just come at the worker like this guy did, like John from work
Yeah.
did. I think, uh, I don't think I know that I would be more gentle with my workers. I'd be like, yo, we just lost someone. Is there any chance you can help me out and work this day?
Yeah.
Or like maybe depending on how many workers I have, maybe I'll be like, hey, can we split up this day? Like everybody is supposed to have the day off. I said, okay, if we have everybody work like 1 or 2 hours at least to get some work done, kind of. Like
Yeah.
if you're the manager, the boss at this job, you technically have the power to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you know what? If nobody can come in, then it is your company, so you're the one that's supposed to step, or at least I would step in, had that been the case, or I would just, yeah, I mean, I had to step in and do the changes myself, but I would not be demanding my workers to, do that,
It's like,
like,
yeah, like a whip almost.
yeah,
I think
uh,
I mean the problem here is that the manager, or I guess the company, promoted this manager knowing, probably not knowing, but not training this manager to be more, take better approaches to treating, their employees. So that is on the company.
yeah, I completely agree. All right, should we go to the next one? I think we're out of conversations for now, but we just have some statements from the subreddit. Oh, this one, dude, I don't know how I feel about this, to be honest. Um, so this is a McDonald's sign. I don't know where it is. I don't know if it's nationwide or somewhere else, but it's a new starting wages, $12 an hour for 18 plus. $11 an hour, 16 to 17, and
That's so
8.50,
crazy.
14 and 15-year-olds.
That's
So
so ridiculous.
this is the starting wage for people in different ages, and you're segregating the pay based on their age.
Isn't that illegal?
I
No.
feel like it should be also. Well,
Or is this
I didn't
another
know.
country?
I did. Maybe it is Britain or something. I didn't know 14 and 15-year-olds could legally work.
Yeah, that's what I'm
I
wondering.
thought you had to be 16, and I don't know if that's a state thing or again a nation's thing. Um, I don't think I like it. I think one of the statements I saw from people that agree with this is like, well, you're just in high school, so you don't need to get paid more. But at the same time, it doesn't matter if you're 17 or 18, you're still doing the same job at the same time.
Exactly,
Like if you
right.
hire two people at the same time, one happens to be 18, one happens to be 17, and you're training them at the same time to do the exact same job, I don't think it's fair to lower the pay based on your age.
Yeah, this is like not even experience based. Maybe like life experience based, because I guess maybe an 18-year-old has more life
The
experience than
the
14-year-old.
only but then at that point, why even hire like younger people or older
Yeah,
people if that's the case? If you want to spend all that money, then just hire 14, 15-year-olds and pay them 8.50 an hour. Although 8.50 an hour, I mean, yeah, I get it. If you're younger, you don't have big bills to pay or anything like that.
like I wonder if this wage. Well, I guess if we have to define what a wage does. Like, what is, when they set minimum wage, what is the minimum wage? Is it the minimum wage that a person can survive on? Or is that a minimum wage of the value of someone's time? Or is that something else? Because if that's minimum wage, if that's a wage based on like survivability, maybe, 14, 15-year-olds are assumed to live with their parents, 16 or 17 years, maybe assumed to live with their parents. So then
So they don't need as much.
Yeah, they don't need as much, but then at the same time, it's still like, I don't know. It's so weird.
But they're still they're still doing the same job. So it's kind of like, what? This is like very complicated. It's very complex, and I do think it has to do with that minimum wage, because I mean, you're right. Who's to say that, a 16, 17-year-old hasn't been kicked out of their parents' house and have nowhere to live?
Exactly.
Then in that case, they need something that pays more. But then, how many places really just hire 16, 17-year-olds off the street? If not like retail and restaurants. And so it's kind of like, okay, so do they step up the minimum wage, or do we need a different job for younger people?
Yeah, that's probably what I wonder if this excludes certain tasks, maybe.
If it is by task, then I agree. If you were to tell me hey, $8.50 an hour just to clean up, you clean bathrooms, you clean tables, and you make sure people have everything they need, sure. If you're going to be handling money, if you're a cashier, then yeah, you need to get paid more.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're a cook, then yeah, you need to get paid more.
Yeah, I remember when I worked at McDonald's, I'm pretty sure my wage is lower than the cooks, but I could not cook. I was only allowed to be the cashier person and cleaning.
Yeah, you only did your one job, and that's it.
Yeah.
And that's where they need to be. That's where, as a company, you need to be careful, because if you hire somebody to be the cleaner, but then you're short-staffed, and then you're like, hey, I know you're the cleaner, but I'm gonna have a cashier. You better pay that person the cashier wage, and not the cleaner's wage.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then, if that's the case, then they need to get rid of the age gap here, because then that's not accurate anymore.
Yeah. I wonder if this has to do, because I saw another post about a guy, I guess it was a response about a guy that was overqualified for a job, and he couldn't get the job because the company knew that they were going to be wasting both their time, because they know that this person would temporarily get this job knowing something better will come and they'll leave, So I'm wondering if, in this case, an 18-year-old, $12 would make me stay. Yeah, that's all part of the, what is this wage about? Is it takes $12 to handle money? Is it $12 to keep somebody? Is it is that a number because it's competitive, or is it the other stuff, based on experience or whatever? So it's oh man, there's just so many unknowns. Not from a task standpoint, but from the company, why they made this certain wage numbers or whatever.
I think we just need more information on this. But just as the picture, just seeing this, I don't like it.
Yeah.
I don't like that they're using age as a wage amount of wage that you make an hour. I think that's wrong. I think it should be based on task. And if experience gives you a raise, then everybody should start at the same pay, and then as your experience increases, then you get paid more.
Yeah.
But again, I don't know the backstory to this, so maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. Viewers, listeners, what do you guys think?
Yes.
Let us know in the comments. Give us your comments. Tell us why we're wrong, or why we're right. Keep it civil. Please, we're discussing things because I'm interested in different points of view. I am not interested in fighting you.
Or don't keep it civil, so that we have more comment replies.
Fight! Do whatever you want. It's a free world.
Yes.
Okay, let's go to the next picture. This one. This is one that I recently started living by.
A good one.
So your job will forget you ever worked there. your child will never forget you weren't there.
Man, this one hits
And and you know what? This is a hard one too, um, because it's not that simple.
hard. Mm-hmm.
It really isn't. This is not you either spend time with your child or you spend time at work. It just can't be.
It makes a great quote, but yeah.
It's a good quote, and you know what? And when I say that I live by this type of quote, like I do. I recently realized that if something were to happen to me, the company that I work for, they'll find someone else. I'm replaced.
Yep.
1 month
Yep.
later, they don't even know who I am. They're like, oh
Exactly.
yeah, some guy that used to work here, but now we have somebody else that does exactly the same thing he does, and he gets paid less because brand new or whatever. Um, as soon as I realized that, I came to the conclusion that if I have time off, like if I have the ability to not have to go to work, knowing that my department will be taken care of, then if it's important enough, let's say a family member's something that's gonna happen once in a lifetime kind of thing, I will skip work. Like work at this point is not bigger than you know my mom's accomplishments,
Yeah.
something that will happen once in a lifetime, or even if it happens very few times in a lifetime, um, or like my wife's achievements. If she does something and I want to be there with her for this, I will be. If I have that capability of doing it, I will absolutely be there. um, but again, it's all within reason, like because one can find an excuse to not go to work because I'm like, well, it's this or it's that, or um, like something important's going on. Something important is going on every single day. Everybody has a life, right? Everybody has things going on. But um, I think what this quote is about not forgetting that you're doing your job so that you can spend time with your family.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a family and all you can do is work, I mean, fine, that's your own choice. But also don't forget that you matter to yourself as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you should have time for you as well. And so I think this is more directed towards workaholics, and I very much fall under that category. I have 3 jobs. I do a lot, and I often need to remind myself it's okay to not have to work.
For me, yeah, and that's the opposite. Well, not the opposite, but like I'm like that workaholic. Like I have a set schedule for work at home, but sometimes I go over that trying to complete this task, whatever. I think partly
Mm-hmm.
because I want to have something completed for the next day to present at my work. So it's
Mm-hmm.
like a self identity of like self affirmation of importance based on what I complete at work, uh, at the expense of going over and then having less time to spend with my son and family. So it's like you have to remind myself, okay, um, there's a reason why I set 8 hours. Like I shouldn't go
Yeah.
over that. But
Yeah.
it's hard. It's hard.
And the thing is, like, as you're the provider for your family, I think having to do a little extra work in order to provide for the family is okay.
Yeah.
And that's where that gray line or
And not get
gray
fired.
area, yeah, that gray area exists. Like it's not as simple as a black and white.
Yeah.
You either work or you don't work. Um, Sometimes we do need to make sacrifices, and we need to work a little longer or do more than we should if it means a good reward. But if you're just overworking yourself all the time and then you start missing out on like important parts in your life, that's when that's a problem.
I feel like
And
it's like
so,
like that trope in the movies where the dad's like in the office and then the kid's like entering the room, it's like, hey dad, can you play with me? Like, oh shoot, and you see those scenes like, yeah, you should play with your kid, right? But at the
yeah,
same time, what if you're in a Zoom meeting, or what if you have a deadline to meet? you have to like kind of sacrifice it because, or sacrifice, the spending of time, but it's not like it's going to be like that all the time, maybe just
Right.
for that week you're on crunch or whatever.
Yeah.
So it kind of gets mixed up. I think the point that you made about if you have time off and you're
Did you
not
say?
using it to spend with your family or spend time on with yourself, that's where I think this quote kind of takes it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yep. That's 100% it. Just don't forget. Just don't overdo it. Whether you have a family or not, I think it's important to just give yourself time. Like life is not work.
Yeah.
Work is there to help you live, but you're not living to work. Should I write
Yep.
that down? Put it on a t-shirt?
Yeah. Maybe we should do like the 10-second pre-roll of our videos with a sweet quote.
Ooh. Yeah, maybe we should. This actually reminded me of something, and I forgot. Crap. Whatever. It's
You'll
fine.
probably remember it.
Yeah, maybe. Okay, let's go to the next picture. Should we do... Okay, let's do this one and we'll finish with the other pictures.
Okay.
So.
All right.
So this is... do you want to read this one or do you want me to read it?
Let me just type it up real quick. Okay. Callouts without doctor's notes will be unexcused. Every time you call out, your days will be cut until you're permanently off the schedule. Be accountable and dependable. It will take you a long way in life. Your favorite GM, Marsh.
So this is a notice that was made on I mean I don't know what this company is. I don't know what they're going through, but this seems very passive aggressive.
Yeah, it does.
And if I saw that, I would not like it. Based on my current job, if I saw this, I'd be like, nah, I'm out. And I think that this is going back to those first like messages that we saw where people just kind of got tired of management and the work environment and they just quit. I think this is part of the problem. They're setting expectations too high with not enough give.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of like, yeah, do this, I'll pay you whatever much, but keep doing this, keep working, and then you don't get any sort of reward. So call outs without doctor's notes,
like a human.
Yeah, when you start losing sight of that, then yeah, people are not going to want to be there. And I think a lot of companies, and I'm not saying every company, I'm not saying everybody, but I think a lot of companies do need to start looking at their policies and the way they're treating their employees and figure out a change. Because I feel like everybody, with the internet and everybody being able to communicate so fast and compare the lifestyles, it's becoming too easy to just be like, well, I can have a better life somewhere else. So unless you treat me better, then I'm out.
Yeah. I think that's what this whole anti-work majority is it about. At least right now with this trending, it's like a lot of people quitting and texting it and then showing it off to the world.
Yep. Have you noticed while you're driving around town and whatnot, have you noticed that there's signs everywhere that companies are hiring?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like, it's everywhere. It's literally everywhere. But it's like it's just I see it every single day. I see a sign that says hiring.
It's weird because I feel like I'm still back in 2004. When was that not Great Depression, but we had that
2008.
That stock market crash or whatever.
2008.
Was it 2008? And then everybody always like trying to find jobs.
Yep.
I feel like we're always still there, and so I'm like, when I see those now hiring. I'm like, whoa, what's going on? Why are
It's
people
just
taking this?
it's just interesting because everybody's quitting, everybody's hiring, but there's like people are saying that there's no jobs right now. I don't think that they mean that there's no jobs. There's plenty of jobs.
Yeah.
I think again, it's just that the job is not worth it.
Yeah.
So what does it come down to? The pay, the benefits, like, or corporations too strong, too powerful?
Yeah. I'm reading this quote again, and there could be a lot of backstory to this too.
The notice on the paper.
Yeah. Like, what if these are people? Because you have bad actors too, right? That will just call out all the time. How do you deal with those?
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe this person was like at their wits' end, and you know what? They need to set down the law, whatever. Maybe not in the best way, but I don't know. Like, how do you balance
it's true.
trying to be accommodating to a human being, but also dealing with the bad human beings?
Okay, so let's put it this way. Let's say that this manager right here, Marsh,
Yeah.
he's dealing with bad actors, people that call out too much, and there's a lack of responsibility or lack of accountability or something like that. So it's kind of like, okay, so you as a manager, you're tired of people's BS because they're definitely not doing what they're supposed to. So I get it. If people are not doing their jobs, then yeah, they need to be disciplined. But at the same time, if this is a problem that is happening with everybody to the point where you have to do this type of notice, shouldn't this be your call to action? Shouldn't you be looking inward and saying, okay, like, why are people calling in sick so much?
Yeah, there you go.
So it's kind of like maybe something is wrong with the company that is making people not want to work here. So maybe at that point, you just got to change your policies. Again, I think it just goes back to how people are being treated. You keep your employees happy, they're going to keep you happy.
Yes, that is a good point.
It's a two-way street. There isn't a one way or the other. It's you. I give you cookie, you give me cookie.
Then why do they have to give cookies if they're just keep their cookies?
Yeah, right. All right, and then let's finish up with this one last quote. I'll read this one real quick. So this is in quotes. People don't want to work anymore. Close quotes. People are driving for Uber and Lyft, setting their own hours, making deliveries for Grubhub, DoorDash, and Walmart, selling their art in their Etsy shops, monetizing their YouTube channels, cultivating podcast subscribers on Patreon, and selling racy content on OnlyFans. So when you say, open quote, people don't want to work anymore, close quote, what you're really saying is they don't want to work for you. Change or die. Again, doing Etsy, doing YouTube, doing all of these jobs requires a lot of discipline. If you don't have that discipline, if you don't have that motivation and that initiative to do the job, you're not going to get anywhere. You're going to have a hard time surviving better than you would in a corporate job. And even these are corporate jobs too, like Walmart, Grubhub, like that's a corporation. But I agree with what they're saying. Like, you have all these companies saying people don't want to work anymore, and we're hiring, we're paying, but it's kind of like, yeah, but what are you paying them, and how are you treating them that they don't want to work for you? So, antiwork, this subreddit of antiwork, like I've enjoyed the content in it, mostly because I do feel like a lot of it is workers are being mistreated, and they're finally getting to this point of like, you know what, screw you, like, we're all human beings, we're all trying to make it, but when you treat us like like we're worth nothing, then there's got to be a we're putting a stop to it. And so to stop working for somebody that makes you unhappy, where your working environment is toxic, and finding something better that makes you happy, that works for you, I'm for that.
Yeah.
I'm for being able to have a good balance of work and life. Your life should not be work, and work shouldn't be your life. That's my quote for the day. I like it.
Yes, that should be the pre-roll right there.
Yeah.
And I think,
I like it.
Yeah, like you said, it's still work. Etsy, YouTube, and I think, I thought about this. If you want a chill job where it's average, recognition isn't there, but then badness isn't there per se, get like a desk job, If you don't want to worry about money as much, but just, enough to get by, then get a desk job. Get like a retail job, whatever. If you want to make more money, then you do all this stuff. But then with more money comes more work. You have to work harder. But then it's like a peak where you do all this hard work and then it pays off, and so the work kind of starts to die down. So the question is, are you willing to reach that peak and then get all that passive income?
I agree. I think you'd still have to put in the work.
There's still work that has to be put in.
So find what you want to do and do it. And if you're trying something and it's not working, nobody is holding you, at gunpoint or anything like that. Like if you're trying a job and it's just not working out for you, then find something else.
Yeah.
I mean, don't put yourself in a situation where, you're gonna starve. But if you have that ability, then I would say do it.
Yeah.
But really do it. Make sure you're disciplined enough to do it. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you're gonna do something on your own, make sure you're capable of doing it on your own. And if not, then you don't get to complain about your job.
I'm calling it now. I feel like YouTube and Etsy and Patreon and OnlyFans, whatever, is the new, I want to be an actor. I want to be a painter,
Yeah.
And eventually, years down the line, it's going to be what? You want to be an actor? You want to be a painter? They don't make a lot of money. And then there's going to be another Great Resignation, but for this self-work stuff. You know what I mean?
I feel like eventually I think we're going to go back. I think we're going to circle just like everything else in life.
Yeah.
I think right now it's all about doing your own work and doing stuff like that. And eventually the companies are going to start shifting into a new type of policies, to the point where people doing their own work are going to be like, I have to work so hard to make it on my own. Like, this is not worth it anymore. I'm going to go work for this corporation because they'll take care of me, and I only will work 80 hours or 40 hours a week.
There's going to be testimonials like, oh, I remember the whole Great Resignation thing. It was great.
Yeah.
But I just want to work. I don't want to worry about accounts, payable, my money, my marketing. I don't want to worry all about that. I want a company to do it. And that's gonna be the next trend.
Yeah. I bet it's gonna go in circles. But I and with that being said, I do think it's all because people got to learn how to co-work.
Yeah. Or companies will learn how to treat their employees better.
Yeah. That is my hope. Alrighty.
Well, guys,
this is a good one.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of the G&G podcast. If you enjoyed our conversation on anti-work, if you have your own thoughts, let us know in the comments. Make sure you like and subscribe. Make sure you listen to us to wherever podcast places. What's the saying for that? Wherever you listen to podcasts.
Wherever you listen to podcasts, we'll be there.
We will be there, so look for us. G&G podcast. My name is Gabe.
I'm Gato.
And thanks for watching.
Peace.